Alrighty then, folks, we are back with some more dungeon mining. Or mining-based dungeon. Yes. So, in this episode, we gotta go rescue Gavenger, and in the last, we went and explored a little bit, got down to the enemy mining base, and now we gotta go murder some people. That should be fun. Hey, a heavy Gauf. So, heavy Gaufs are kind of my favorite thing ever. Because it was like, hey, you know, the Gauf is really good at ground combat, but it's not very good at range. So let's exclusively take what it's good at and take away what it's good at and try to help what it's bad at and completely fail at doing it. So it's basically a Gauf with the sword arm removed and the heat rod removed, and instead the 5-fingered, I think 80mm machine guns put on. Its best skill was literally to stick both its hands up and shoot both arms at once. So what could be accomplished by a Zaku machine gun is now accomplished by an entire mobile suit. Awesome, right? In this, it's actually kind of good, but in reality, it's really stupid. Some of the concepts for it would be recycled into the Gauf Custom, which did actually do really well. But oh well. We got the Heavy Handgun R, which would prevent us from using other guns, so it's completely retarded. We have the Extra Armor, which just increases our armor in exchange for speed. And we have Gauf Data, which is completely pointless at this point, and we're just gonna sell. Oops, not that. We want this. Because money is cheap and I have a lot of it. Or I can get a lot of it, not very difficultly. I kind of like how adorable the gun tanks are in this game. It's like they all just look like they need a hug. And gun cannons are just kind of generic. I don't quite remember what we're going to give Aeon next. I think the Camphor? But that might be a little while away. We might give her something else in the meantime. And if I remember it, I'll mention it. But for now, you can just assume she'll go straight up Camphor. The reason generally why you have her go Camphor is she's really good at speed. But damage-wise, she's not the best. But later on, she gets abilities that overcome that problem. Like, she gets some of the best attack abilities. And I believe eventually she gets counter snipe. But we haven't unlocked our sniper guy yet, so we don't really know. We don't know how good sniping gets. But there's one fight in the middle of the game that's a giant pain in the ass. But having counter snipe just makes it simple. And it's great. Of course, the first time I played this game as a kid, I didn't know about those things, and like, I trained my way through it and got strong enough to where I could withstand his hits. When it's literally like there's an ability that allows, as soon as he tries to do his fuck you ability, you do 38 damage to him and he stops. It's even better too because you can have him snipe with like a Zaku machine gun. Oh, and we did all that for kneecap. So it's literally just like, no, stop that. Pew, pew. No, stop. But hey, there's a save point, so you guys all know it's up there. So we're just gonna completely avoid it. And get into another battle. Alright. And I believe we went to the right place to get Gavenger. Oh no, the Dom got pushed into a corner. It's also not the one of the most common mole suits. At this point in the game, we haven't fought any more Doms, but at one point we could have fought some Doms, so the joke would be, yeah, we fought those other guys, you didn't say anything, but now that we find this one, you're like, oh yeah, it has to be Gavenger. And this is our enemy. I'm assuming he has robotic eyes, not that he's just wearing some weird goggles. But it looks like he's wearing goggles. You're not wrong. Yeah, remember how his mobile suit was like sparking on fire? He's completely fine. But as you'd guess from a Dom, it has a tomahawk and a giant bazooka. The tomahawk, I guess, is a little bit strange. But if you look, he's basically Fritz, like, light. He has the same abilities as Fritz, does basically the same thing. Though he does get some of the melee abilities. His melee isn't very good. Actually, his melee is only a little bit worse than his range. I think Fritz's is much different, yeah. I never considered Gavenger being a melee character. Oh well. Yeah, so usually what I have Gavenger do is he becomes Fritz Light and he just follows up with like shoot alls and stuff. Which can be pretty nice, but at this point we're not going to worry about it. And of course, they give a perfect place to hide a chest and it's not actually there. If you're wondering about these trucks, I have no idea. I really don't. They just look like Type 60 bodies with like cranes on them for some reason. Of course, the enemies have been using Counter Zone for a while, so it's not a big deal, but yeah, that's what Counter Zone does. And yeah, you don't have what I think, yeah. I was about to say, you don't have the ability I should have you been using the whole time yet, do you? Oh, poo. We didn't kill him before he'd used that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just have everyone shoot him. 10 bucks says Counter Zone. Oops. Oh, and we did pilot damage. Great. And Zaku spikes. Wow. We can totally use those. We really can't. Hey, Spear Goufs. You don't fight these very often. They have spears, and they can do, I think, power charge? Yeah, if we can take out the guys who can charge the other ones, we'll be in good shape. And yeah, we could have swapped out to Tremy or had Gavenger did shoot all, but oh well. And Tristan got double arms. Fritz got Bomber. And she got a Fence Hack. Bomber is basically grenade everyone, but it does a little less damage. Offense Hack lowers attack, but I rarely use those abilities. And Double Hand allows him to attack with both hands, or weapons equipped on both hands. Which can be pretty useful, but oh. I never use it just because, like, what's it gonna do? So this is, like, this fight would be great to use Bomber on because you would bomb everyone, but we have shoot all, so. Kinda makes it easy. Just a little bit. Alright, I guess by default we're just taking out this guy first. Or missing, that works too. I was about to say, I really hope he misses. See, that's how it feels, game. Bad, right? Freaking every boost I've used with Tristan so far has missed. I don't think that's actually the case, but at one point it was. And more gun cannon data. Maybe we'll build a gun cannon in this one. I usually avoid it and get a second camphor later on. Also should have healed, but oh well. Oh, hey! That's an actual gun tank. That's cool. So that's the, I think, RX-76 gun tank? It was the first in the, first in Project Z, and it was a practical application of mobile suit parts. Basically just a head and a body. It really wasn't all that different from what they were already using, but it was just to test, like, building the upper torso and stuff for mobile suits. Oh, Buckets can. That usually overheats you if you're not lucky. And Shot Burst. So, some people think this is based off of the Turn X's attack, but... Or not the Turn X, the Gundam X's attack. But I'm not so sure. I just think it's Space Laser Cannons. Which is basically Turn X, yes, but oh well. Yeah, that's the upgraded version to Shoot All. We won't use that as much, but we'll get that eventually. I believe that does 2 times the damage with Shoot All instead of just 1 times the damage. Let's see, boost, power charge. Oh, and Tristan already had Counter Zone too, which is kind of funny that Gavenger would tell us about it. Thank you. I was actually going to have to heal soon. And we got a Missile Arm L, which I believe that's one of the ones we can use. Basically, it's just a Vulcan hand. It's not really a missile arm. But hey, we got out of their trap, because who would have guessed it was just the same easy enemies? Though I guess that one gun tank was actually kind of difficult. All on your own. Sorry, I was watching the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently, and, you know, a lot of the dialogue does shit like that. So, Trimi goes the gambit of hitting on everyone. At this point, it's still Tristan. But eventually she move over to Gavenger, then somebody else. Then another female character we get later on, which is why I ship those 2 characters. And eventually she just stops talking. Like, she has this big, like, emotional scene and then just stops for the rest of the game. It's kind of funny, actually. Aeon's hearing voices in her head. We have to listen to her. Hey guys, so I'm just gonna cut out that whole last part because all we did was get into 4 battles and I didn't say anything interesting. Just that combat tends to gruel on since it's basically the same rotation every single time. Even if you don't have shoot all, it's still the same of, you know, you have Tristan melee, you have Fritz in Aeon shoot, or Gavenger at this point if you're tired of Aeon. Because right now Gavenger is more powerful than Aeon. I just prefer Aeon. Or you can do what I did in my, I think it was 2nd playthrough. I switched Gavenger and Aeon suits. Because I wasn't going to use Gavenger anyway, because I like the original 3 characters. Well, I'll eventually start swapping them out and actually using them for what they're good at, but right now I just don't care. Oh yeah, it's this one. Hey, a beam spray gun. We haven't got one of those before. I think we had the chance to buy them, but I didn't. Which, I probably mentioned it before, but the beam spray gun is basically a beam shotgun that's so close range, it's kind of pointless to use most of the time. But it was the first practical application of a beam weapon in UC, so. And just so you know, the gun cannon and then the Gundam's beam rifles were really practical since they were so expensive to produce. They could produce multiple Salamises for the same price. Not practical at all. But it did have the power of a Salamis's main cannon, so really useful at least. But I believe that was only mentioned in the book. Oh, hey, stealth systems. Well, I wouldn't have killed to have those earlier. And a hacking tool. Alright, so now we're about to use stealth systems. We eventually get an ability that does this, but I figured we could buy these by now. Where are they? These are basically like repels in Pokemon. Yeah, there's probably somewhere to buy these, and I'll probably go look through all the shops later in the game. Or after this is over and try to get all of them. Because boy do random encounters annoy me in this game. Yeah, now we're ready to go fight the boss, so I think I'll get in there and then we'll fight him next episode. Be fun, right? Because that means next episode we could fight the boss, which will take like, what, 5-10 minutes? And then after we fight the boss, then we can go and get the new mobile suits and junk. So folks, if you enjoyed the episode, you should like. If you didn't, you should dislike. We'll be back next week, or not. Who knows?